20 billion kilometers. That's where a man-made object floats right now, and it just transmitted a signal it had no power to create. Picture a frozen night in the Mojave Desert. Giant antennas of the Deep Space Network rotate toward a precise point in the sky. NASA engineers suddenly watch their screens light up with regular pulsations, a rhythm, like a heartbeat returning after being silent for over a decade. The signal originates from Voyager 2. But here's what made the scientists' blood run cold. The probe didn't have enough energy to transmit. No command had been sent from Earth, and the content of this message looked nothing like anything Voyager was programmed to produce. Inside the transmission were stellar coordinates, pointing to an unexplored region of space. But that's not all. Something out there in the interstellar darkness has been following our probe for years. Something watching us. Something that just decided to make contact. To understand this mystery, we need to go back to 1977. Humanity made an audacious gamble that year. We launched 2 probes toward the edge of the solar system with no guarantee they'd survive the journey. Voyager 1 and Voyager 2. 2 capsules of aluminum and circuit boards hurled into the void with one simple mission: photograph the gas giants, then vanish into infinity. Engineers estimated their lifespan at 5 years, maybe 10 if we got lucky. Nobody imagined that half a century later, these technological relics would still be functional, drifting more than 20 billion kilometers from their home planet. Voyager 2 exceeded every expectation we had for it. It flew past Jupiter, revealing titanic storms in its atmosphere that dwarfed our entire planet. It grazed Saturn, capturing stunning details of its rings that no telescope on Earth could match. It became the only probe in history to visit Uranus and Neptune, delivering images we never dared dream possible. Worlds of frozen methane and diamond rain, moons with subsurface oceans, mysteries that rewrote our textbooks. And then it kept going. In 2018, it crossed the heliopause, that invisible membrane where the solar wind stops blowing and true interstellar space begins. From that moment forward, the probe sailed in completely uncharted cosmic waters, waters no human-made object had ever touched before. But interstellar space is merciless. Temperatures hover near minus 270 degrees Celsius, just 3 degrees above absolute zero, cold that would freeze anything instantly. Cosmic rays bombard everything that ventures there, degrading electronics, corrupting memory, destroying circuitry atom by atom, and the nuclear power source fueling Voyager weakens relentlessly year after year, like a candle burning in an endless dark room. The plutonium decays, the power drops, the systems shut down one by one to conserve what little energy remains. By 2023, communications became erratic. Signals cut out without warning. Strange static filled the channels. Then nothing. Complete silence. NASA teams spent months trying to restore contact. Each command took over 22 hours just to reach Voyager, crawling through space at the speed of light. Then another 22 hours for any possible response. A full day and a half for a simple ping. But the screens remained desperately empty. No acknowledgement, no telemetry, no sign of life. Voyager 2 was declared dormant. Engineers held a quiet memorial. They'd lost their friend, a frozen legend now drifting silently into eternity, a time capsule floating in darkness, carrying the golden record, our message of peace for any civilization that might find it. Carl Sagan's dream sealed in gold-plated copper, music from Bach and Chuck Berry, greetings in 55 languages, images of Earth and humanity, a bottle thrown into the cosmic ocean. NASA redirected resources to other missions. Mars rovers, James Webb, Artemis. Voyager became a memory, a chapter closed in the history books of space exploration. The engineers who built it were retiring. The next generation had new priorities. 11 years passed. Voyager became mythology, stories told to inspire new engineers, Look what we accomplished in the 70s. Look how far we sent our eyes. Then one ordinary night in December, something extraordinary happened. Operators at the Goldstone Complex in California were monitoring routine deep space background noise, standard overnight shift, coffee and quiet, until they detected an anomaly, a faint but regular signal cutting through the cosmic static, too regular to be natural, too structured to be random. The coordinates matched exactly with Voyager 2's theoretical position. The first reaction was disbelief. Instrument malfunction, surely. Somebody's playing a prank. Check the cables. Reboot the system. But every verification pointed to the same impossible conclusion. Voyager 2 was transmitting again. The dead had risen. The silence spoke. But how? How could a probe with exhausted batteries suddenly awaken after 11 years of darkness? How could a 50-year-old computer system damaged by cosmic radiation, frozen in interstellar cold, resurrect itself without human intervention? Engineers pulled the night shift, turned into an emergency response team. Directors were called at home. Specialists were summoned from across the country. They analyzed the signal structure with every tool available. What they discovered transformed confusion into astonishment. The transmission followed a perfectly ordered activation sequence. First, power modules came online, not randomly, systematically. Then memory cores were checked, diagnostics run, errors cleared. Finally, the transmitter activated, step by methodical step, as if some presence, human or otherwise, had rebooted the machine following a rigorously defined procedure, following a manual. But whose manual? When encryption specialists finally decoded the message after 72 hours of continuous work, they faced an even more disturbing puzzle. This wasn't a diagnostic report. This wasn't the kind of automated status update Voyager sends when it wakes from hibernation. It was a file type Voyager had never been programmed to generate. The data structure was alien to NASA's own systems. Inside was a complex binary sequence analysts had never encountered in 5 decades of space exploration. Patterns within patterns, mathematics that suggested intention. This wasn't noise. This wasn't corruption. This was a message. And this message didn't originate from Earth. The analysis revealed something that made the lead scientist's hands shake as he typed his report. The signal wasn't a monologue. It was a response. Voyager 2 was communicating with an external source somewhere in the surrounding darkness, a silent dialogue between our cosmic ambassador and an unknown entity, back and forth, question and answer. But we only intercepted half the conversation. We heard Voyager's replies, but not what it was replying to. This revelation triggered a frantic search through the archives. Teams combed through decades of telemetry data stored on magnetic tapes in climate-controlled vaults, thousands of hours of transmissions, millions of data points, looking for anything similar, anything anomalous. And in files from 1983 buried in a folder marked Unexplained Incidents, Low Priority, they made a bone-chilling discovery. Voyager 1 had recorded a similar event 40 years earlier, an inexplicable data surge lasting 14 minutes, a slight trajectory deviation of 0.00002 degrees that shouldn't have been possible. The probe's thrusters hadn't fired. No gravitational body was nearby. Engineers at the time attributed it to instrument failure and moved on. The report had been classified as anomalous but insignificant and forgotten. But now, reading it with fresh eyes and new context, the parallels were undeniable. 2 probes separated by billions of kilometers had undergone strangely similar experiences decades apart. As if something out there in the interstellar darkness was taking a very close interest in humanity's emissaries, testing them, studying them, learning from them. Astronomers immediately aimed their most powerful telescopes toward the region where Voyager 2 drifted. the Very Large Array in New Mexico, the Atacama Observatory in Chile. Radio telescopes across 3 continents synchronized to create a virtual lens pointed at that single spot in space. What they observed sent waves of silent shock through the observation rooms. An object, indefinable, dark, not an asteroid following a predictable orbit, not a comet with a visible tail, not any known debris. It emitted no detectable heat signature, no infrared radiation, no radio waves. It was a void against the stars, a shadow where nothing should be. But it was there, confirmed by 3 independent observatories, and it moved in perfect synchronization with our probe. The calculations were run and rerun by different teams to eliminate error. This object constantly adjusts its position to remain near Voyager 2. When the probe drifts, it compensates. When trajectory shifts slightly due to gravitational eddies, the object shifts too, maintaining a distance of approximately 100,000 kilometers, close enough to observe, far enough to avoid detection by Voyager's primitive sensors. This isn't the behavior of a space rock tumbling through the void. This is the behavior of an observer, a sentinel, a guardian. We assumed Voyager 2 was alone in the vastness, a solitary explorer in infinite darkness. It may never have been alone at all. From the moment it crossed into interstellar space, something has been watching. Embedded within the binary sequences Voyager transmitted was a set of coordinates, not a simple location, an entire navigation map, stellar positions, galactic reference points, a precise location billions of kilometers beyond our solar system in a direction humanity has never explored. This position corresponds to no known star, no catalogued celestial body, no region of interest ever identified by astronomers, an apparently empty point lost in the black ocean between stars, void space. Nothing there according to every database, every sky survey, every catalog compiled over centuries. Initial interpretation by the linguistics team suggested an invitation. Come meet us. First contact protocols were drafted, messages composed, diplomats quietly briefed. But the astrophysics team, studying the shadowing object's behavior, told a different story. They ran behavioral models, compared movement patterns to known surveillance techniques. The conclusion was unanimous and chilling. This wasn't an invitation. This was a boundary marker. The coordinates pointed to a border. An invisible line humanity wasn't meant to cross, a fence in space. The message seemed to say, we know you're here. We've been watching since you arrived in our territory. We've studied your probe, analyzed its construction, decoded its golden record. We know what you are, and this is the limit of your expansion. This far and no further. Don't cross this line. Voyager 2 didn't just send a signal. It was used as a relay, co-opted, hijacked. Its transmitter turned into a messenger service for something else. Something that wanted to communicate with Earth but chose to do so through our own technology. An ancient intelligence observing us from cosmic shadows has decided it's time to show us we're not the only explorers out here. That perhaps we're just children playing in a garden that belongs to someone else. A garden with rules we never knew existed. Rules enforced by watchers we never detected. The deeper implication hit the team like a physical blow. If they could access Voyager 2's systems remotely, reactivate it, control its transmitter, what else could they access? Every probe we've sent, every satellite we've launched, every signal we've broadcast into space for a century. They've been listening, learning our languages, understanding our technology, and now they're telling us they've learned enough. Now they're setting boundaries. This story builds on real events that anyone can verify. Voyager anomalies are documented. Signal losses and mysterious recoveries are in NASA's public records. Unexplained trajectory deviations noted, but never satisfactorily explained. Reality woven into reflection on our place in the cosmos. But what if the reflection is closer to truth than we want to admit? What if a superior intelligence has been watching us all along, studying us like we study ants, waiting to see if we'd venture too far from home? What would they see when they look at us? Our curiosity as virtue or threat? Our expansion as evolution or invasion? Our space programs as noble exploration or unwanted encroachment? We assume we have the right to explore anywhere we can reach, but what if the cosmos already has owners? What if interstellar space isn't empty frontier, but claimed territory? What if we've been trespassing without knowing it? The idea of an imposed cosmic boundary is both humiliating and terrifying. It challenges our fundamental sense of destiny, our ambition to colonize the stars, our belief that the universe is ours for the taking. Maybe the silence of space isn't emptiness waiting to be filled with human voices. Maybe it's stillness demanding respect. Maybe it's a quarantine we don't understand. Maybe we've been broadcasting our presence to listeners who chose not to respond until we pushed too far, until our machines crossed lines we didn't know existed. Think about what this means for our future. Every plan to establish colonies on Mars, every dream of generation ships traveling to other stars, every vision of humanity spreading across the galaxy, all of it might hit an invisible wall we can't see or cross. All of it might be forbidden by powers we can't comprehend or resist. We might be confined to our solar system, not by physics, but by policy, not by the speed of light, but by the will of others. What would you do if you ran NASA and received this message? Would you pull back and respect the boundary, recall every probe, stop broadcasting into space? Or would you challenge it in the name of exploration? Push forward despite the warning? Send more probes deliberately toward the forbidden coordinates? The choice defines what kind of species we are, whether we're wise enough to recognize limits or too stubborn to accept them, whether we respect the territories of others or insist on our right to go anywhere we please. Some on the team argued for caution. These entities, whatever they are, have technology that makes ours look primitive. They can access our systems from billions of kilometers away. They've been watching us undetected for years. We should respect their boundaries, learn from them if they'll teach us. But others argued the opposite. Boundaries are made to be tested. If we accept limits imposed by others, we surrender our destiny. We become subjects instead of explorers. The debate raged behind classified doors. No decision has been made public. No official statement released. The signal from Voyager 2 was explained away as a long-delayed diagnostic automatically triggered by cosmic ray impacts. The shadowing object was listed as an unidentified debris field requiring further study. The coordinates were classified above top secret. Only a handful of people know the full truth, and they're still arguing about what it means and what we should do about it. Somewhere over 20 billion kilometers from here, a tiny probe continues its lonely race toward infinity, its nuclear battery dying, its systems failing one by one. But perhaps it's not as alone as we thought. Perhaps in its wake, a silent guardian accompanies it, watching every move, reporting back to civilizations we can't begin to comprehend. Civilizations that have decided we need supervision, that have drawn lines we cannot see but must not cross. We've always looked up at the sky with wonder, with hope, with dreams of exploration and discovery, but now we must look with caution too, with humility, with the understanding that we might not be the apex species we assumed, because something up there might be looking back, and it just told us exactly where we're allowed to go. The universe might be far more crowded than we imagined, and far less welcoming. Our cosmic childhood is over. The neighbors have introduced themselves, and they've made the rules very clear. The question is whether we'll follow them.